Welcome back to the Money Making Mamas podcast. We're glad you're here. My name is Nancy Wallace Lobbs, and I'm joined by my lovely daughter,
Kelsey Laka.
and we are a mother daughter duo. And Money Making Mamas, if you haven't heard of us before, is we focus on helping moms
Mhm.
learn how to make money through real estate investing. And our
Mhm.
podcast is all about kind of real estate investing, but about being moms,
Yep.
about being in business together,
Yep.
and all of that. And so exciting. This is episode 20.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It'll be good.
So, well, Kelsey, it's been a while since we've
It's been
sat
a
down and
hot minute.
record. Woo, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
I
long
actually
summer.
am trying to remember when we did episode 19. I literally can't remember.
I think it was June because we did say we are going to make maybe into June or
I thought it
something.
was maybe May.
Maybe it's been a while,
It's
but
been a while.
we're gonna take a few more weeks off before we
Yeah.
start episode 21. And what's exciting in the fall, we're gonna start up in the fall. We're gonna start having guests.
Hmm.
Yay!
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
well, let's just kind of recap a little bit
Yeah.
because it's been a hot minute. It's
Yeah.
been a busy time. I mean,
Hmm.
um, well, I want to talk about just last weekend. I know it was just last weekend, but we went to the lake with the
Yeah.
kids, and I'm so proud of Bear, my now 3-year-old
Yeah.
grandson. He tubed. He went
Yeah.
tubing. Now, if you don't know what tubing is, you know, basically you get on kind of a big inflatable
Inflatable.
tire kind of thing, and it's behind the boat. And Kelsey was on the tube with them. He loved it. He
Hmm.
did not even want to get off.
Mm.
And it was perfect
Yeah.
boating weather. I mean,
Yeah.
and when I say that, not just the water was so smooth and
Hmm.
it was really, really nice. It
Yeah.
was good. And then my little granddaughter, she's 2 now, and she just loves swimming.
Yep. She
Oh
does.
my gosh, she's such a swimmer. So they both love that. So
Yeah.
that's the most thing I can think of. I am kind of having a fog. I've just gotten over a summer cold,
Mhm.
so I'm not as sharp
Yeah.
today as I normally am. So I hope it's still an interesting podcast.
Yeah, no, it's been good summer because I feel like we've gone to the lake a lot. So that's been kind of nice. And yeah, the kids, it's like for anyone that has toddlers, they know that when they want to do something and we have to end that activity, it's normally in like tears and screaming. And I think that's, I mean, as it was so much fun with them, but also trying to get them off the water was not fun.
Right. Yeah, it was not fun.
Like Bear had so much fun tubing. He just like, yeah, just wanted to keep going and going. And whenever we were like, okay, it's Dada's turn. No, no, it's my turn.
And I think we have a video. Actually, Kelsey and we haven't tubed. I haven't tubed in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And so Kelsey and I actually got on the tube together,
Hmm.
and her husband put on the song Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And
Yeah.
I think we'll be doing an Instagram reel,
Yeah.
right, of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So look for that. That'll be
Yeah.
fun.
It's funny. I haven't tubed in like and I got really self-conscious just now that we're talking about it. So no one but um so we haven't okay, so we started tubing because a couple weekends ago we had a friend's weekend and we thought the tube was broken. It wasn't, all this stuff. So everyone went tubing. So we are like, okay, let's do it with, us, family. And so me and my husband Zach got on the back one time. Oh my gosh, Brian whipped us around and like so much so my toenail. I don't know if you know this, but my toenail polish came off.
Toenail polish.
It came off. You can see like the tip.
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
even
I
gonna
can see
try
that. It just looks like you have like
a
kind of a
French
French
tip.
back. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, if people have never tubed before, they're like, "What?" It's not a tube, it's round. I mean, they do have tubes that are
I mean, I feel like
I think
majority people know what
yeah,
tubing
and
is.
then we did wakeboarding and
Yeah.
so it was just fun because just wrapping this all into the real estate investing.
Yeah.
So we bought a lake house to Airbnb,
Yeah.
and the cool thing about owning an Airbnb rental is that, if you want to use it. So
Yeah.
when people ask me, hey, where should I buy an Airbnb? I'm like, well, where you like to go? Because that's what
Mhm.
we did. So,
Mhm.
but that was a lot of fun. And what else went on this summer? I think the last time we talked, we'd been in Galveston, but that was back in April.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I feel like it's just been a lot of the lake and it's been a good summer with the kids. We've just been trying to like it's hard during summertime because I typically don't want to go to like the zoo or the museums because all the kids are there. Like I'm kind of waiting it out until kids start school to go
Yeah.
do those fun things. So we've just been like pool days and I think it's just been a nice summer. It also hasn't been like we hit 100 degrees like one day and that's
Yeah,
it. And
it's been pretty
it's been a
mild.
nice summer.
Yeah, they were talking about in Phoenix because we used to live in Phoenix, and they were saying the record was like 116. I'm like, no, I remember back in the day it was 122
Ugh,
when we
gross.
first moved there. Yeah, so yeah, it's been hotter, and
Mhm.
it's Phoenix, and
Mhm.
that's why we don't live there anymore. I think they were
Yeah.
supposed to get up to like 118 or something, but that's kind of standard in
Yeah.
July for them. So I don't know. They're talking about the heat dome and all that. So
Yeah.
I think it's just the news cycle. So.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to talk about today? It's
Yeah.
our 20th episode, so I know
Mhm.
we kind of brainstormed about some, like, what would be a kind of a cool topic for
Yeah.
number 20?
Yeah, and if you haven't listened before, because this was kind of a hard topic for us to come up with, because we've talked about like our relationship, which was a really fun episode, and that was very early on, and kind of how we started making mamas and why, and then we've talked about like networking and real estate investing, and we've done some myths to bust and things like that. So when we talked about this episode, I thought it would be fun to do like a theme of 20 things. And we were like, okay, what could that 20 things be? Do we talk about like, our favorite things? Do we talk about 20 real estate investing myths? But we've already done that. So, anyways, I thought it would be fun to reflect on like, it's been about a year since we started Money Making Mamas and just kind of going through this journey. So I thought it would be fun to look back about kind of our all the things that we've gone through and 20 things that we wish we would have known starting out.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
This should
just
be
like
good.
20 things. And, maybe not all of them are going to be like, they're just going to be 20 things that we wish we had known about, or
Yes.
maybe that we had done a little bit differently. Because I will
Yes.
say, everything that we've done has led us here, which I really appreciate. But yeah, so I've got my handy dandy list.
All right. It could have made our journey shorter, is what you're saying.
No,
I
just,
think it was just, yeah, it was a journey.
it was a journey.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna start out just because if you've listened to our podcast, then you know this, but if you haven't, then this is new to you. But I handle our social media. I'm gonna say not the last month of August, but um, I handle our social media, and so we tried a couple different things. Man, we tried a lot of different things. We now use Vista Social, which if you haven't heard of it, it's an amazing platform for any content creators that are trying to push things out to multiple platforms. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's scheduling. It's a scheduler.
Yeah, sorry. It's a scheduling software for social media, and you
Hmm.
can hook up to like 8 platforms. I feel like it's very reasonably budget. Like, I don't think it's crazy expensive. Obviously, they have different plans that you can pay for, and I think we have a good plan for what we push out there. And like, yeah, I just love it. You can do collaborators on Instagram. You can, it helps you like reword things for Twitter. I mean, it's just amazing. So Vista Social, I wish we had started that like day one.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, and
Hmm.
we're gonna drop links on some of these
Yes.
things below,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
can like get hooked up with them.
The next thing, number two, so a VA for mundane task,
Yes,
for
the
little
virtual
tasks,
assistant.
a virtual assistant. So if you want to, because you kind of took the lead on that one.
Yes. So I was like, okay, we're kind of inundated with these day-to-day things that, we could just use some, extra helps. And sometimes when you're a small business, you don't really want to bring another person on board,
Yeah.
right, on a full-time basis or whatnot. So hiring a virtual assistant actually can help you out and it
Yeah.
can save you money and all of
Yeah.
that. And so we usually use Upwork.
Hmm.
And then the cool thing about it is you can go in there and you can create projects.
Yeah.
So that's what we usually do. We just create a project for something that we like, oh, okay, we need some extra help with that. And
Hmm.
then they're dedicated. And I'll say the main thing about hiring a virtual assistant is make sure you know exactly what you want them to do,
Yeah.
write the job aid and all that. But yeah, and I've used virtual assistants on and off, but I think we were kind of hesitant when we were getting started because they're like, oh, okay. But yeah, it really helped.
And when you're, when you're a startup, small business, like I'm gonna try to say like
Expense.
any expense is very like, do I want to spend it here? Do I want to spend it there? But I will say, because the last thing that we used RVA for was, I personally like the summer, even though we had just talked about it, but like I have the kids full time, and if they're toddlers, they've dropped their nap, they're very, they want to be with mom all day, which is totally fine. But I personally did not have the bandwidth to like hold up with social media for the last month, so it was nice to hire our VA for a month to just kind of give me a break. And then, okay, I'm like, it's given me a catch up. So even it doesn't have to be a long-term task, but if you need just help just catching up somewhere,
Mhm.
I will say that helped me a lot.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and just like little stuff here and there. It's been really nice. And I mean, I feel like we've had positive experience with all of them.
Yeah, always.
Cause even another one that we've done is I feel like our website was, yeah, like good to a T, but they really helped like those little details that we just couldn't
Yes.
quite figure out.
Yeah. And or you don't want to. You're
Yeah.
just like, "Hey, I don't have time for this,"
Yeah.
or, creating a landing page or whatever it is
And
to.
again, I feel like it is budget friendly.
Mhm.
Like I don't feel like it's astronomical.
Yes.
Um, okay, so we're gonna talk about tools a little bit. So this will
Okay.
be like 3, 4, and 5 and
Okay.
6.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools. So you
Yeah.
want me to jump in here?
No. So
Okay, no.
I got it. Well, okay, so heat maps and how to use. So go ahead and jump in
All
on
right,
that.
so heat maps. So as a realtor, I really like used heat maps this year to help us identify areas where we want to
Mhm.
invest because with the market the way it is right now, I mean, there's a lot of things on the market, but we're more interested in a particular price point
Yeah.
to buy properties. And so in any metropolitan area, you can, well, really statewide, through my realtor tool bag, I can pull a heat map of
Mhm.
like, okay, these zip codes are be good for this price range, and this zip code would be that, and I can actually do that anywhere in
Yeah.
the U.S. So that's been really, really good, and it's helped our students.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then they'll
Mhm.
say, well, I want to invest in this area, and then we'll go to the heat map and say, okay, well, the average price of a house there is $550,000. So
Yeah.
are those are the type of houses that you want to invest in? No. Okay, well, let's like dial that down.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been really good to focus in on areas that you can invest in and then really focus on getting off market deals in those areas.
Yeah. And I think also another thing that's been really helpful too, you said it's helped our students, but also I think it's helped us because, we had one student that was out of state and, we weren't 100% knowledgeable like compared to what we are here because it's our backyard. And that was very helpful to see like, okay, is this the right area and
Yes,
things like that.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, it was kind of validation for them. Like, yes, this is where you should be
mhm.
investing.
Mhm. Yep. Okay, Microsoft Clarity.
Okay, love it. And this is
Mhm.
a tool, some people might be familiar with it, but it's a free app that you can download on your desktop. And what it does is it goes in and it basically analyzes your website. Like what it will tell you is where are people clicking?
Yep.
It records like their actual journey, like you can see
Yeah.
the little
That
mouse or
was so
whatever.
cool.
And it'll show you where people are dropping off. So
Mm.
we actually we continue to use it to improve our customer journey on the
Yeah.
website. But it was very interesting because it color codes it. So like red's like, oh, that's where people are at, and then blue is like, okay, they're dropping off. So there was, I mean, it was so crystal clear.
Mhm.
And one thing I found was very interesting. Like nobody really cared about testimonials.
Yeah.
We have testimonials, and I think that's because people either think they're fake,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so, but every time I've like gone in and revamped the website based on the customer journey, that's like an area that people don't even look at.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So they're more interested in the content, the value. But that's a free tool you can use, and it also has a heat map. So what I'm talking about is the heat map,
Yeah.
and it'll give you info. And I guess I'm just going to jump right into the Google Analytics part of it then.
Well, I want to say really quick for the
Yeah.
Microsoft Clarity, it was so helpful and so interesting as business owners to ultimately see what your customer and it almost helped us with our messaging too.
Yes.
Because that was a big thing as well. Like it almost helped us like realize, okay, because I there was a point where we are like, okay, we need all these reviews, we need our students' feedback, like things like that. And if you don't know, but in the very beginning of Money Making Mamas, we actually had a focus group, and that was amazing because it gave us all this feedback. But as you go throughout your business, you're getting feedback from like clients and testimonials, but to actually see feedback from people that aren't in the program, that was really helpful as a business owner
Mm-hmm.
to see. So it was almost like a informal focus group
Yes.
of saying like, okay, this is what these people are interested in. Because a lot of things that they were interested in too was the FAQs.
Yes, and yeah, so kind of what you're saying is that, we were spending time getting, because we were new and we want to get our name
Mm-hmm.
out there. So we were spending our time and energy, getting reviews when that's the last thing that people are looking at on your
Mm-hmm.
website. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have reviews. Like, so
Yeah.
we do focus on our Google page, but
Mm-hmm.
on our website, what we found is that it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
It
Yep.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So.
So okay, now go on to Google Analytics for
Okay,
the
so
right
Google,
domains.
yeah, so Google Analytics, and should I just start talking about the business page
Yeah,
too?
so this will be 5 and 6
Okay,
if anybody's keeping tabs.
so I think I mentioned this on another podcast because I'm not a very techo person, and we had hired one person to do the website, and unbeknownst to me, the wrong Google number, the Google Analytics from another website was used. And so the reason that that's important is it tracks like where people are finding you, right? And I don't know if it has anything to do with the SEO, but you want to make sure you have the right Google Analytics for your business on the website. And then, excuse me. And then we set up a Google profile, which I'd never done to the extent that we did. And so a business profile, which is really nice because it helps in the rankings of getting you on the top of Google Business.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because when I just went to this Google class, right? So I'm going to share what I learned there. Um, so if you type in Money Making Mamas, with the MAKIN, no apostrophe, we're right up there. We're like one or
Mm-hmm.
two. But if you type in women in real estate or real estate investing, Nancy Wallace Lobbs might come up. And Money
Oh,
Making Mamas is probably, I mean, we come up, but we're way further
right,
down.
right.
So there's actually a way to marry that. And so we're working on that. And
Yeah.
so Microsoft Clarity helps with
Yeah.
that process, and it's all this SEO and everything. So it's very interesting, but spending time getting a nice Google profile, a business profile, and then that's where we focus on getting our reviews
Yeah.
and putting our events
Yeah.
and pictures and things like that. So I think,
Yeah.
really putting a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah, and going and talking about Google Business Page and going back to Vista Social, I mean, that was one that like I didn't even know that people were looking at for a Google Business Page, like, but that's been helpful because I mean I never go on that, but it anytime I post a reel or a picture to Facebook, it also goes to Google Business Page without me having to do a lot of work. It's just combining all of those platforms, which I just cannot go. And also too, just to reel back to Vista Social, it's very user friendly. Because there was another platform that we used and it was not user friendly.
Right.
So for all of like the technology people out there and like millennials, I feel like it's very user friendly and very aesthetically
Yeah.
pleasing.
It looks
I
nice.
like
So
it. Okay, so I think that was really good. Talked about tools. We might talk about tools. Oh
can we
yeah,
talk
we do
about
talk
the
about
AI,
tools a
the
little bit
prompts?
later on. Later
Okay.
on.
All right. Okay.
We're going down my list. When we were planning this, it might be a little all over the place because we were just like, this is one of the things that we really used our brain power for. All right. So, number 7, how we spent our marketing money.
Yes.
So, I think with
We could
this
say a lot
one,
about
we
this
could
one.
say a lot about this one. And it also ties in with number 8, if you're seeing a pattern here. Oh, and I guess number 9, who to network with and who to pay to be a vendor and what events. So, all three of these. So, let's start with spent marketing money. I feel like one of the things that we did in the very beginning was yes, like when I feel like when you register your website, when you do all these things, all of a sudden you're getting emails from people. Oh, hey, Kelsey, I can help it with Money Making Mamas, make a book, or I can help with
Get on
your
a
lead,
podcast.
yeah, or your leads, or whatever it is. And I feel like with us, maybe one of the tools that we used early on in marketing wasn't the right one for us because it was helpful, I think, for other people, but I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it just wasn't as robust as we needed it to be, because you already had been testing different social media
Yeah.
platforms, and we sort of knew where our audience was. So I think that you know, um, you know, in the beginning, that was supposed to help us with getting
Like
rankings
SEO,
higher and all
yeah.
that, but we were actually already the thing, there.
Yeah.
So I
Now
think
that, yeah, sorry to cut you off. Now that we're talking about it, I can specifically remember I went into, so they offered like multiple things. But I went into their platform and we had already kind of like said, okay, we're going to do it, sign things. And I went to go start scheduling posts, and all of a sudden it was like, well, I can't do reels without audio. Like I don't know, it was just a lot of, so it ended up kind of hindering
there was restrictions.
my
Yeah, there
end.
were too many restrictions
Yeah.
on that particular platform, so we did end up changing it. But you're right. I think we got asked to do so many things, and in the first year we did.
Yeah.
Like we went, we were vendor. We paid to be vendors at different
Yeah.
events because they were family focused. But what we found out was just because it's family focused, if there's things
Mhm.
there for the kids, the parents, moms particular, don't have time to stop and talk to us about real estate investing.
Yeah.
So I say probably we only did I think we did like 6 or 7 events last year. And there was only one that really where we
Yeah.
actually got leads from. And the
Yeah.
others were just, like,
It was nice to have our name out there, but
mhm.
and this isn't like dogging, because like I do think that people, because one of the very first things when we started introducing ourselves as Money Making Mamas, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I love that name,"
Yes.
and I think that we are different, and we do offer something that not a lot of people do. We are mother daughter doer. We are giving time back to their families. Like we're teaching families and moms how to invest in real estate, which you don't see that a lot of,
Mhm.
and we're very family focused. And so I think people saw us, and this is a little toot to our horn, but like people saw us as like, oh, that's really different.
Yeah,
And like
and
that's really nice
they
to
would
have.
follow us. So I guess the point being is that they the vendors that we did, the spots that we did were good for getting followers
Yeah.
and getting name recognition, but as
Yeah.
far as like return on investment,
Yeah.
I think that's what we're saying is that, if and when you're first starting out, sometimes you have to do that just to get known. Um,
But I'm also talking about the vendor, specifically the people who were setting up the vendors and who to find for these events
yes.
reached out to us. And we were like, oh, okay, yeah, yes, like let's do it, because
Yes.
we didn't know, like at that time, we were like, oh, there's just another way, another way, another way to get our name out. But in retrospect, we could have taken like that and put it somewhere else.
Right.
And so this also talks about so how we spent our marketing money, and then who to network with, and who to pay to be a vendor and what events. So our networking, that's another one too that I would say, again, just because someone reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I can get you in front of these people," are these people your people that you want
Yes.
to? And
Your
so
target audience.
again, I think that it's just like obviously, because later on we talk about like opportunities and saying yes to them, but one thing that I think we learned was that, is this really our audience? If we take a, like, yes, in that moment, like instead of saying, yes, we'll do it, we should have said, like, let us think about it.
Yes.
And let us think about it. And then when we thought about it, okay, wait, is this really our audience?
And you
And
have
that would have helped us, I think.
And also when we think about the event, will the audience be around to even talk to?
Yes.
Because if it's an activity with their
Yes.
family, they're going to be wanting to go to all the different booths and things like
Yeah.
that. So
So
so we did learn some
we
things.
did. And let me just, it's so funny because we did one event, and it was actually a really fun, cool event. Again, not to be a vendor at. I mean, not to be a vendor at. Like we were surrounded by people that like you buy things from. Like, and that was another thing too. Like you don't really buy anything for us. Like it's not transactional in that moment. It's more about like talking. But anyways, they had like a petting zoo and face painting, and so it was fun for us to watch like all
Yeah.
that. So it was a really good event, but it was just probably not the right event for us to be at. But then there was another one that was really nice that they had a big activity, but they allotted time for people to walk around before, like it was like 2 hours before the event you could walk around, and like that's the one that was really successful for us.
Yes.
So again, it's just really, just because someone approaches you about something, really think about the opportunity and how much is this going to benefit you,
Yes.
is ultimately I think the message.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, let's talk about this good old podcast.
Okay, let's oh my gosh. So the podcast, and really the reason why we're only on, we started in January, and we're only on 20 is just because it just, I mean,
Okay,
it's a,
first off, let's not put us down
well,
because
not put us
20 is
down. No,
like
no, but I'm just saying
20 is a lot.
when we said, "Oh, let's do a podcast," I thought it was like get a microphone, sit down, let's have a
Same.
conversation, right? And there's so much that goes into it that you have to you don't know until you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing was even finding a location, and so we were like, "Oh, well, we can go to our library. They have a free podcast room."
Yep.
And then we're like, okay, well, you only get it for 2 hours, and Kelsey's got to like find babysitting and blah 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 blah, and then
Well,
you,
that wasn't even the issue too. It was a one person.
yes,
It was one person. That was the hard part too, because it's not like you can just be like, "Oh, hey, here's a mark, Mike." You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And then you can rent space, which
yes,
was, and there was some really cool, it's almost like Airbnb, but you can rent
yeah.
podcast rooms. But then
Very, very cool.
we were talking about marketing dollars, and so we didn't want to spend $75 per
And you had
hour.
to know what you're gonna talk about. And let me tell you, I got here at 8:30 and it is now 9:42 and we only started like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So you kind of
So
got to have. So then, ultimately, what we ended up doing is we turned my dining room into
Mhm.
a podcast studio. It's very nice. We keep it.
Yeah, I do love it.
Yeah, it's just, and it's us, and it's here for us all the
Yeah.
time, and we can have guests, and then the equipment.
Yeah, let's talk about the equipment. So, if you know this, again, if you've listened in the very beginning, you know how much of a pain this was for us. I'm pretty sure in like the first two episodes, we don't even have the same mics. I don't know. We have different mics. Anyways, but that was a whole ordeal. I mean, I can figure out technology stuff, but man, the mics, I thought I was gonna pull my hair out. And like that is a pretty funny episode. I don't know which one we're talking about it, but I had to get my husband in here. I was like, I need you to fix this, and then all this stuff. And then okay, so yeah, when you're doing a podcast, really research. Like you got to get the sound box thing and you got to make sure it's going to
Separate
be
audio tracks.
yeah, separate audio tracks and like all these things. And then one thing that and one thing that why we don't have guests on here so early on is because you got to get a third mic or you got to basically have a mic for everyone.
And we have to have a new box. Like the
Yeah.
sound box we have isn't big enough. So we had that's in our third quarter budget
Yeah.
that we get in the box, right? And then we're like, so we
Well,
have
I
people
feel like
standing by. I mean, people want to be on our
I
podcast,
know.
and we're like, well, we got.
Well, and even then, like I know that the like if you watch our episodes on YouTube, thank you because I know that that video quality is not the best. I mean, we're using a camera that like I'm pretty
Okay,
sure it's not meant for.
I know, but it's authentic.
No, I know it's very authentic, but I'm just saying, no, if you're going to do a podcast, it's not just like, oh, hey, let me set up this one microphone. No, there's a lot to go into it.
It's just not getting on your computer and doing a Zoom call. I mean, you can do them
I
that
mean,
way.
I'm sure there is. I mean, don't watch. Someone's gonna reach out and be like, you can
Yeah.
definitely do it that way, but we're no experts. But anyways, we're talking about what we wish we knew when
Yes.
we started this. So we wish we had known
But we
a
would
little,
still done it.
yeah. I wish we had known obviously the whole setup situation because that was just a headache
Yeah.
in its own. Yeah. But let's talk about number 12,
What is that?
embracing every new opportunity.
Okay. All right. So we talked about, we did get asked to be a lot of sponsors and vendors
Mhm.
and things like that. And so usually when you're asked to be a vendor, you got to pay for it, right?
Mhm.
So, so a company reached out that I know, and they asked me to be their host for the webinar. And I'm just going to say it's Foreclosures Daily, right? Because
Mhm.
that's who it is. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And so at first I did it, and I was like, oh, well, and the owner and he's very nice, Steven. I'm going to just give him a shout out. Very, very nice guy. And so, but we did have a couple conversations because I think he had one expectation, I had another. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, we worked all through that. And it's been going really, really well. I'm having
Mhm.
a great time doing it. I've been doing it since I think like August of last year.
Yeah.
And then Steve and I talked about, so now Kelsey and I, and we actually get more followers, from doing there because they're a nationwide company.
Yeah.
And now this is so cool. They're going to sponsor Kelsey and I to do a monthly webinar.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so, this is really awesome because number one, Kelsey gets in front of the audience that I've been talking to for quite some time. So people get to know her. And again, it's nationwide. So so we have the podcast, but now this is going to be kind of focused on how do you it's going to be real estate investing on lead generation.
Yeah.
That's what most of the podcast is going to be about. So the first one we're doing in August is Foreclosures Daily. What they do is they provide lists, so we're going to do divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be exciting having that opportunity.
Yeah, it's a divorce about kind of just how to talk with your clients and how to handle that situation to make sure like if there is a divorce, like the properties and the estate, like how to go through that. So we're doing that what day is it again?
August 21st is going to be our first one. That's
Yeah.
our inaugural. Is that how you say that? I don't know, first, the initial. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so
our
I'm
first
excited.
one.
I'm excited that Kelsey's going to do it with me, and
Yeah, it should be good.
it'll be good. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we're going to be talking about, and I just kind of want to bring this up about, we do find, or most of the people that we're buying houses from are in a distressed
Mhm.
situation. Someone's died, someone's getting a divorce. There's, a distressed owner that doesn't want his house anymore. So I brought this up at a networking event, and I was just saying, hey, this is what I do,
Yeah.
but we are providing solutions,
Yeah.
because when you're going through a divorce or somebody's died, you got a lot of
And
emotions
you're just
going on.
making it easier for that
I'm making
person.
it urgent. So anyway, the next person that introduced me were like, "Oh, well, now that Nancy brought us all down," I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no.
That's
It's
not what we do by any
yeah,
means.
that's not what we do." So we provide an empathetic ear and solutions to help people at a very, very stressful time in their life.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple episodes back, but mom actually got to go to a funeral home and talk in a very short summary, just talk about kind of
Yeah.
the after of like there's so many expenses, even if you go through a cremation, like there's so many expenses, and the last thing you want to think about is like this astronomical price of the house.
Yes.
And so talk
So,
just a
yeah,
short.
so I started partnering with funeral homes because I help a lot of families who somebody's recently passed away, and so the funeral homes director was saying, well, sometimes they have to keep the body on ice, if you will, because the family doesn't have the money to pay for the funeral. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know that that was really
A thing.
a thing, because sometimes there was no insurance.
Yeah.
Sometimes the person didn't get the insurance. I mean, there could be, and anyway, so they have storage fees. And I don't know if this is a thing across the nation, as in Texas. And I said, well, a solution for these families is if they have a house and they have some equity in the house, if we purchase the house, then we can arrange that at closing, the funeral home can be paid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just write it in the contract. It's
Yeah.
it's just like if you had your roof repaired and the roofer's going to take the money
Yeah.
after the house sells.
Yeah.
So say it's a solution, and
Yeah.
and they couldn't believe that there was a because no one had offered that.
Yeah.
So now we actually partner with three funeral homes here so that their families
Yep.
have a solution to a very stressful, not even
Yeah.
a time, but who wants to think about, mom or dad, they
Yeah.
can't put them to rest.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all about solutions, but embracing new opportunities. So like that's, doing the webinar, that's something that I never thought that I would be doing. And not necessarily because I just don't want to. No, it's just more of like, yeah, I don't like public speaking or anything like that. But embracing that new opportunity because realizing what it could possibly bring, same with, who knew that we'd be partnering with funeral homes. I
Right,
didn't.
exactly, exactly.
So it kind of just, I know we talked about, the vendors and the networking and, you know, and we'll talk about more about this later, but it's just just really thinking about it.
And being open to the opportunity.
Yeah. And like being open, but also just, yeah. Okay. So, I guess on to number 13, making sure you're relevant.
Oh, this is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So, because sometimes I struggle with this,
Yeah.
right? Um, I do, what do they call them? Speaker bureaus. Call to actions or something, but where they want speakers for different conferences. And a lot
Yeah.
of conferences, it's pay to play. Like you don't get on the stage unless you
Yeah.
pay big bucks to be there. So sometimes, you send it in, which I've, done on a couple, and then I don't get it. And that makes me like, oh, well, why not? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I should be. But, I think being relevant is just kind of being open,
Yep.
and also like being open to change, because like in real estate things change.
Yep.
The market changes, family situations change. Um, so I think being relevant is just, kind of being forefront about who you are, being authentic, being transparent.
Yeah, but I also think it's just making sure you're relevant with the times
Yeah.
and what's going on, like making sure because I know we had this discussion, like, because, you started investing 20 plus years ago and things investing then is not necessarily the same now. Like, yes, principles and foundation, pretty much the same, but just little details here and there and making sure we're staying relevant to best accommodate our students
Yes.
and our audience and all that.
Yes.
Um,
I'm just going to give an example of that. Like,
yeah.
when I was, starting out, I was like, oh, you always have to have 25% down. Now you don't.
Yep.
Now there's more creative ways
Yeah.
that I'm more aware of. And then we can impart that information onto our students. So, that kind of goes back to that myth busting. You don't have to have a ton of money to start in real estate investing.
Yep. All right. Learning what to let go of. And we have two very specific examples that we want to talk about, but I don't know actually if we ever really mentioned because actually I want to say that stopped if we started this podcast in January, we stopped doing the lunch and learns in January.
Yes.
So I actually don't know if we mentioned this ever, but we used to host a lunch and learn. We did it from like I want to say like August to
November was our last one.
December. Oh, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
in December. And we would, we partnered with some amazing ladies. One, she let us come to their office building in their conference room, and then we would have speakers. One speaker we had, teaches self-defense, Katie Gentry at what is it? Pro
Professional Black Belt Association.
Academy oh my gosh, we're
Katie
butchering that.
Gentry.
Yeah, but we'll
Shout out.
yes, anyway, so she came and she talked and she taught self-defense to, a handful of ladies at our lunch and learn. We had another one come that he talked about loans. You spoke at one. So they were really good. They were. But at the end of the day, were we like that was something that well, okay, we'll do this, but it just wasn't putting that much back into our pocket.
Yeah, the return on investment.
Yeah, and so we had to let that one go, which that was okay. We dedicated, that's when we were like, okay, we're going to do the podcast. Like, we really enjoy doing that. And then the other one, why don't you talk about our coaching?
So, I've been coaching like since 2018. And one of the things to stay relevant is you really got to listen to the feedback you get from your students and your focus groups. So, one of the things that has evolved, especially this last year with Money Making Mamas, is the length of time that people are in the coaching program. Because what we found is that 12 months is just too long. Not that we won't stay with you if that's what you want to do, but most moms don't have that time to
Yeah.
commit. Their schedules are changing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then we went to shorter and shorter to finally when we rolled out our 4-week coaching program. I mean, it's like you're going to learn everything.
Yeah.
You're still getting one-on-one coaching, so it's a combination of one-on-one with online courses that are just, like hour, and you take it, you watch it as you can. But we basically took everything and condensed it
Yep.
down, right,
Mm-hmm.
into where you have to watch module 1 and then you have a one-on-one with me.
Yep.
And then you watch module 2, then you have one-on-one. Because what we found is we don't want you to go to the next level till we know that you understand what you just went through.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been going like gangbusters, and it's affordable.
Yeah, it's affordable. And I
Right
think
now.
that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, it's affordable. You have 6 months to complete it. We do have a money back guarantee. So, I mean, it's foolproof.
Yeah.
And the moms that have taken it so far, they love it because it's like bite-sized info on steroids.
Yeah, and like I think the great thing is like you just said it, you have 6 months. So even though it's a 4-week course and it's, shorter and it's not as price tag, it's affordable like you said. And you can take it at your own pace because like you said, it's literally like you go through module 1 and you go through all the information, which I think is only like an hour or so.
Yes.
And then you're required to meet with you
Before you
me.
even get to you can't
Module 2.
before we release it, because we
Yeah.
really want to have that conversation and also to say, okay, well, was this what you wanted, or do we need to change something or to clarify? Now, module 2 is a little bit longer because it's all about,
Well, yeah.
but to give you an idea, module 1 is just setting you up for success. Like like where you're at. We talk all not about where to find the money, but where you're at with the
Right.
money. And then module 2 is all about how to find the
Mhm.
property. We give you actually a roadmap, if you will, like
Yeah.
where to find. I'm going to get on the computer with you. I'll show you exactly where to go and
Mhm.
everything. Module 3 is where to find the money. And then module 4 is putting it all together. And Kelsey's actually on that one
Mhm.
too. But again, it's been very successful. We've
Yeah.
gotten really good feedback about it. Um, and I'm excited because it seems like it's what we, as you're the things that you don't
Mhm.
know. And we keep asking people, give us your feedback, give us your
Mhm.
feedback, because we do want to be relevant
Yeah.
in this space. And
Yeah.
we do want people to, I don't want to be paid as a coach and then you don't learn anything
Yeah.
because it doesn't make me feel good, Kelsey.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, and I was saying to like the 6 month and 4 weeks, it's nice because we've had moms that like I remember specifically one mom signed up and she was like, I don't know if I can complete the like module 1 in a week. And it's like, no, 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 you don't have to. Like you take it at your own pace. You just have 6 months to finish the 4 weeks.
yes,
So if it takes you, you know, 3 weeks to do 1 week, that's totally okay.
yes,
Because I know me, like I have 15 minutes a day, I feel like sometimes, or I'm just like burnt out because I have two toddlers.
yeah.
So it's again, I love it. So our coaching program, we realized, 12 months, way too long, maybe too much of an investment in the beginning.
And too
Um,
expensive. It was
well, that's what I was
the
saying,
price tag.
yeah, and too expensive. And so that was one thing that we talked about of like, well, how can we help moms? And I think not we didn't let go of the coaching program because it's still the same thing. We just really modified it. So it's knowing when to modify to like fit your audience pretty
Yes.
much.
And so we will drop a link there so
Yep.
you can at least find out more info about it.
Yep, yep, yep. And speaking of links, we'll just do a lighthearted one. Number 15, affiliate links. And
Yes.
that is one thing that I wish we had figured out how to do a long time ago. And if you don't know, I mean, I assume everyone knows what affiliate links are, but it just was another way to have income. And
Yeah.
I will give you the perfect example because this is one that we love. If you have a short-term rental at the, you know, uh, in your welcome book or I don't know, somewhere in your short-term rental, we have a QR code that basically lists a lot of the items in the Airbnb. We've gotten comments on the shampoo and conditioner that we've used. We put it on Amazon and like we've had people scan the QR code
Or
and be like, I
the
like this.
sheets that we use.
Yep.
People
Mhm.
like, where do you get those sheets at? The
Yep.
towels,
Mhm.
so
So just like little items and anyone can sign up to be or maybe not anyone, but and it's how often you are making the sales.
yeah, you have to have a certain limit and things like
Mhm.
that. But they're not the only ones. I mean,
No, they're
Home
not. Yep.
Depot, I
Mhm.
mean, Vista Social. And the
Mhm.
cool thing about affiliate links, just so everybody knows, is that if your clients that are clicking on those links, they don't pay more.
Yeah.
Right, you're just getting a commission.
Yep.
I'm not
Mhm.
talking, but so it's a way, and you can find all kinds of reels out there on Instagram and TikTok about how people are doing a side hustle with affiliate links. So,
Yeah, and I think cuz I know for me when this topic first came up when I saw it, it was like so in your face about it and like people
hmm
are bringing in like 5, $10,000 a month, which like great for them. I love that for them. But that does take establishment and like takes a social media following and
and
like
that's a
things.
full time job.
Well, and so I was just saying that having the affiliate links is not a full-time job for us. It's just a like little side thing. That's been really nice just to have like a little like, oh, like this came in, this came in. So, there's people out there that use it for their full-on incomes. You can also use it just for like a little, not even side income, like a little just, hey, this is gonna pay for one bill of my house. So, that's been nice. But um, okay, number 16. I think this is a big one for both of us. Managing our own emotions and not letting the negative people affect us. So, back to the story about how you were at the networking event the other day. I feel like you just told me about that today, and it happened a week ago, where the person got up and said, well, that Nancy brought us down. So, a week ago, I feel like you would have told me on the spot, like that happened. You would have been fired up about it and all that stuff like a year ago, right? But the fact that I just heard about it today and like you didn't have a reaction, like you're just like, well, yeah, I don't know, like I feel like that was you like not letting the negative people affect you.
Right, because I know that I am providing solutions and I'm not
Yeah.
bringing people down. So to me, that person just didn't really understand what I was all about.
Yeah.
So,
But there's been times throughout the last year where it's like,
well, I could talk about one.
yeah, go ahead, talk about
Yeah,
one.
so I'm just going to talk about the what happened recently with we had a cleaning company that I had been with for 19 years. 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me a form letter, which I'm sure, I didn't have a problem with the form letter. What I had a problem with was, they wanted to raise their prices like 35%. Now, when they come to my house, and it was every other week, they were here maybe 15, 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And they weren't doing like, and if I want them to do deep clean of anything, this, that, or that, they would charge extra. So anyway, and I was like quite, so they said, well, you want to talk about your plan or whatever? Well, I was fired up because I'm like, you know what? I've been here for a while. And they just didn't care.
Yeah.
The owner's just like, okay. I said, because I said, well, I'm not going to pay that extra 35%. I just, and because they said they were going to pay their staff that, which I knew they weren't going to. And so, but I was quite offended, you know. I guess I felt like, because I'd been with them and I had referred a lot of business to this company over the years.
Yeah.
So I just felt like loyalty didn't mean anything with that particular, and I was fired up about that. Then I did have to let it go, right? I just had to, and then we found a new, I mean, there's cleaning companies all out there. So I have
Yeah.
a new one starting fresh,
Yeah.
and it's like, um, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So, but I guess initially I was just like, because I'm a pretty loyal person,
Yeah.
maybe loyal to a fault. And so I just was, if somebody had been with me for 19 years, I probably would have said, no, we want you to stay or
Right.
whatever. But like you said, maybe their whole business model changed and they wanted to weed
Get you
out,
out.
they wanted to weed out, the low.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's just like, yeah, in that situation, like I know that you and I talked about it at in depth and whatnot. And yeah, there's so many things that you could do and maybe like 6 months ago you would have done. But I think now, like, yeah, it just doesn't, I mean, some like they're just not going, those negative people, if they're not doing anything for you in the first place, then why even bother with it?
So I saw this really cool quote the other day, and it was um, like things after a certain age that you shouldn't do, to have a longer life, longer, happier life. And one of them said, don't chase people
Yep.
because if they weren't standing still for you anyway, then even if you chase them, they're still not going to be standing for you. So I thought that was interesting. It was very apropos for where I was at,
Yeah.
So I was like, so I had to think about that because, I'm older. So over the years, people have come and go and, things happen in people's lives and whatnot. And, sometimes friendships or acquaintances, you think you have your expectation of what it is isn't really,
Yeah.
it's not reality. So I think that's,
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned don't chase people, or what is it? Don't
yeah, don't run after, don't
people that are
chase.
not chasing or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's an episode that we talk about, basically it's like lonely at the top. As an entrepreneur, and I can't remember how emotional. I don't think we were that emotional in it. But I think that yes, it bothered us that like some family members like don't listen to our podcast, or maybe they like, I don't know, like they just don't, they're just not supportive
They're
as
not supportive.
we would be. And I know that we talked about that, and I know that we were like, okay, well that's not the right, like that's not nice ultimately. Um but even though we talked about that, I think we also just like come to terms with that as
Mhm.
well, and like learned how to like, okay, well they're just not going to. That's fine. Like, our audience isn't them in the first place. We
Well, we've
want,
even had people question, I mean, friends that have questioned us doing business together.
well, yeah, I mean, I think when people are like, mother daughter, don't you guys just fight? I mean, yeah, we've had some pretty big blowouts, but we've learned how to manage them.
Yeah.
And like I think that this past year, and we'll talk about this way later on, but or not way later, we're not that far off from it. But yes, being a mother-daughter duo, there's been a lot of like, well, don't you guys fight, or is it hard, or working with family members? I was like, well, yeah, it is hard. Everything's hard, but choose your hard.
Yeah, choose your heart.
And
And I think it's actually made us closer because
yes,
we've become better communicators. So
yeah.
we don't have as many blowouts as we used to.
And we're managing our own emotions.
That's right. We are. So I guess that's the whole thing is that maybe a year ago, we didn't manage them as well as we are now. So,
Yeah. You can tell this is like all over the place because we're talking about emotions one time, we're talking about new opportunities. Now we're going to talk about how do you use AI as
oh
a
my gosh.
benefit to your business.
Yeah. And then if you're not on the AI bandwagon, and I just saw ChatGPT went 5.0. So,
Mm.
but I think the thing with that scares people about ChatGPT,
And just
just
AI in
and
general.
AI in general is they see it as a replacement, but
Yeah.
I see it as really like enhancing what you're already thinking.
Right.
And the key is knowing the right prompts,
Yeah.
like telling it like you are a, world-class copywriter that, knows how to
Mm-hmm.
write da 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 da, and then you put in whatever it is or explain, how to make this pot like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So I'm not all about the images yet, but they are getting more and more real.
Yeah, they are.
They're more and more real. But I think as a business, a small business, um, some of the tools like I've been introduced to is one's called Gamma. So if you didn't make a lot of presentations like I do, you just go in there and you type in whatever the topic is about your presentation, and in seconds it creates a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go in and fix it and all that kind of stuff. We use Canva, but I use it to kind of get an idea of like visually. And then
Yeah.
there's another one called Perplexity. And I love this one because you can take any um, data and it'll turn it into a graph
Mm.
in
Mm-hmm.
seconds.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would take me like, I can't think
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah, I think AI is a great tool in moderation.
In moderation. And one thing that I've always tried to like, it's always a rough draft. It's not your final words. And yeah, like so like social media, it is helpful because it'll be like, hey, like I need some help for a post idea or whatever. But when I try to do post, yes, it like gives me the bones, but I try to fill in the gaps and like just keep my authentic self. But it's been really nice for in a sense of like you said, like it already enhances what you're thinking. So I agree with you. I think that there's people that abuse it and it can be seen as a replacement, but I also think that there's in moderation. So speaking of AI and like, replacement and I don't know, I don't know where I'm going with this, but make sure you double oh wait, hold on. Number 18.
Oh,
Make sure you double check your banner for marketing events. So,
now we're talking about a stand-up banner,
yeah.
like
So
something that
honestly, any.
advertises has your name of your company and your tagline. So,
So we made a little bit of a mistake, and I'll admit to that it was a two play because I created it, you ordered it, so we
mhm.
both did not double check it. But I can't remember what it says, but basically
The
there's a
wealth,
word, yeah, a word in there, and it's wealth, and we left off the H,
yeah,
and so it says
or the
welt.
L. Was it the L?
No, I thought it was the H.
Oh, okay,
It's welt.
wealth.
Anyways,
And
so
but the thing is, because the funny story is that when we realized it, we'd already used that banner like
like
multiple times
we were in the middle, like
of the presentation.
no, like I saw it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, our banner, like it's hung up. It like, we're about to give a 5-minute presentation about who we are in front of this big group of people." And I look over at the banner and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's an H left off of this banner." And I know we've used it several times.
Yes.
So we get up there and this all goes into number 19. Don't be afraid to embrace being uncomfortable. So is it uncomfortable going up there and being like, "Hey, FYI, we are very intelligent, but we forgot to have the H
And
on
we
the
know what
wealth."
wealth is. We just didn't know how to spell it on this thing
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to so yes, make sure you double check your marketing banner, but then don't be afraid to embrace being uncomfortable. So, if you're again from the very beginning, thank you so much for listening and just being with us, but I did not want to do this podcast. Like I saw it as a burden. I saw it as being uncomfortable. I don't know, just putting myself out on there. And I'm thankful that that we did this podcast and kind of stuck with it. Because I think it's been really fun. I love that we've gotten to 20 episodes. I think that's a lot.
Yeah.
More than I thought. Um, I think just being and one thing about this I wouldn't say this year, but going into the fall winter season. So I'm a part of a mom group and the theme this year is make it awkward. And we were talking about that the other day of like, well, what does that really mean? And it was make it make it uncomfortable. Like, it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there. It's uncomfortable to go to a networking event, which we have an episode talking about that. Or it's uncomfortable to get up in front of a group of strangers you've never met before. But embracing it, because you never know what's going to come out of that.
Right. And because you never know what that door, and you have to have faith in yourself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, faith in yourself.
Okay, so number 20. This isn't when we talked about this, we were kind of like, okay, we're at 20. That's a lot if you really think about it. But we didn't really know, not know, but I don't think that this one is very much a wish we did this in the beginning. I think it's just something we've realized over the past year, but our why has changed.
Yes.
So when we go up and tell our stories, Money Making Mamas was founded because at the time I was pregnant with my second uh, baby, and I was about to go back. Oh no, I'm sorry. I had just had her, and I was about to go back to maternity leave, and I didn't want to. Like, I had been home. I was very fortunate to work at a company that allowed a lot of maternity leave, and by the time I had my second baby, I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to be in that environment, and I wanted to be home with my babies. But we had built a life off of two incomes. And so I went to mom and I was like, help me make money. I've always been on the sidelines of real estate investing. Um, and doing that, but I've never been full on investing. So you took what you've learned and taught me. And then once I told my friends that I was able to replace my income plus more and now start to invest for my kids and their future, then my friends were like, well, I want to learn that too. And then we realized that moms want this for their kids. They want to build a legacy. They want to build generational wealth. So that's why we started this. You needed some income, I needed some income, but our why, I mean, we've just genuinely had fun working together this past year.
We have. And I think too that it says something that what I know, I'm teaching you,
Mhm.
and I'm sharing that with, and then you're sharing that, and we're sharing that together
Yeah.
with other moms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that it continues to build, and then they can have fun doing it too,
Right. And I
right?
think, yeah, and so like everything has led us to this point, which again I appreciate, but I think now like it's come to a point where I just genuinely like coming here and doing the podcast, or I like that we're going to do the foreclosure dailies thing, or we have the chamber breakfast in a couple weeks, and meeting with the moms and the moms when we've been able to meet and like just help out. And so I think our why just is continuously evolving,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been fun.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mom. Well, any parting thoughts on our 20th episode?
I'm just happy to be here,
Mhm.
and I think it's been fun. It's been a different kind of journey for sure, one
Mhm.
that, as a mother-daughter
Yeah.
knew that we would be here. So I think that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
just growing as women,
Yeah.
but also growing our relationship as a mom and daughter. I think it's
Definitely.
very cool. So,
Definitely.
no, just my parting is like, thank you for sticking around for the end of our podcast episode number 20. Hit that subscribe,
Mhm.
like us, go to Money Making Mamas on our Instagram and join there. We have a Facebook group and just connect, and then we will be
Well, and I'm going to do some plugs for us.
okay. Yeah, do some plugs.
So there's some plugs. So if you don't know, go to our website, moneymaking, no apostrophe, no G, mamas, .com. So www.moneymakingmamas.com. And we have so many free resources for you. So
Yes.
we have a Burr calculator. We have some other little freebies that I'm just like blanking
Here,
on
let
right
me fill
now.
it in. So we have the
Thank you.
Millionaire Mama webinar.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes,
that
yes.
tells you kind of more, even
Yeah.
more about us, right?
Mhm.
And then we have our investor starter kit.
Well, but hold on. So that's
Okay.
what I was wanting to focus on was our
Okay.
investor starter kit. So that one's not a freebie. It's only $27, but
We do have a 5-day jump start, the Millionaire Mama jump start.
yes. So, okay, we have lots and lots and lots of things on our website. So we have some freebies, which is our webinar, tells you a little bit more about us and just kind of how we invest, how we teach. I think it's only like max 15 minutes long. We have the Burr calculator, we have the 5-day starter pack or investor pack. But then jumping in, we have a $27 Investor Mom Start Pack. So this really just helps you just dive into the first 30 days of investing, and it's a very day by day, like walking through the exact steps what you can do to start investing tomorrow.
And what you did, we wrote it based on what you
Yeah,
did.
it's exactly what I did. And, I've been able to invest and, like I said, replace my income plus more and start to build for my family. And then if you are interested in coaching, but you have a little bit more questions or you just want to learn a little bit more, please feel free to email either one of us. It's Nancy@moneymakingmamas.com or Kelsey at moneymakingmamas.com. And anything we talked about today just will be dropped in. If there's links, will be dropped below. And then lastly, so we're gonna take a couple more weeks off to just kind of figure out what we want to do for the fall. My kiddos start a Mother's Day out program, but we're gonna start having guests. So if you're listening and you want to be on, again, email us, or if you have any inquiries. Other than that, go back, listen to some episodes. What's two of your favorite episodes that we've done?
I think the one, I don't remember which episode it was, but the one where we're just cracking up talking about our move from
Oh, I don't
Phoenix
remember
to,
that. That's a
that
hard
was early. I want to say it was like episode two. It might, maybe it's in episode one. I don't know. We'll have to tag that one because that's a pretty hilarious story.
Yeah. So I would say my favorite two is the networking one,
The networking one, yes.
and also It's Lonely at the Top.
Yes.
I think those two are two of my plus I mean, but also our first four where it's just talking about you, it's talking about me,
Yes.
us together. I think that's fun. So anyways, we have episodes to listen to, obviously 20, but thank you so much for joining us today
Your
and
support, the support, we
yeah,
appreciate it.
support. All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye bye.